Welcome to the webinar recap. I'll revisit the Lunch and Learn webinar on report style and design tips for desktop report writer. First, you'll see a demo of the different styles and formats available, the pros and cons, and how easy it is to apply the new style to your report. Second, we'll break down some lesser known settings that can change the look of your report. Third, I'll show you how to use some free tools to make simple graphics that can be added to your report and complement your logo and brand, making your report distinctly yours. Fourth, we'll review some readability tips. I'll show you some common issues I come across and ways to improve them. All right, so first I'll show you how to apply different report style formats. So you want to open up a report, go to the top and click Upload, Print, or Publish. They all kind of take you to the same spot.
Once you hit print, you can just hit yes here and just kind of bypass that. But you do want to have a full report so you can get the idea of how your reports would typically look. So here, just make sure you've got full report for upload checked. Highlight that, make sure it has a check next to it. And then the Style and Format tab here, if you click on that, you can move one of the boxes out of the way. I've just moved the choices out of the way, and then I have my example box here. So two boxes kind of pop up. Right now I've got the format selected called Clean Narrative. That's our newest format that we have. For Clean Narrative, that's the format. There's a description of it. Down at the bottom, you'll see the different styles, which are the color choices. So you've got your format and your style. And you can go through this and the colors will change over on the right to different colors. Well, I'm going to run through these real quick. So we've got Clean Narrative selected. First, we'll do a print preview. And then for color, I like this regular blue here. You can check this box here that says Save Settings as Default for Future Reports if you want. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just if you happen to like what you see, you don't have to go back and do this again and check the box. So I'll click OK, and here it is. So I've got the Clean Narrative cover page selected. It automatically will show up and it looks like this. I tend to like it. A tip for this cover page though, some folks that take their cover photo very close to the house, they might end up with this not looking as great as it should. So this cover page, it's actually responsive to the size of the device and it kind of moves with it. So if you do like this style cover page, try stepping away a little bit, like maybe if you're in a neighborhood and it's really close to the road, maybe go in the middle of the road and don't get hit by a car, but look both ways and all that jazz, and then take a picture and try adding that because it just works a little bit better with this responsive design. You'll notice I'm just going to scroll down just to show you the table of contents is a little bit different than the classic HomeGauge table of contents. The comment key and the definitions, this has two columns. You might like it, you might not. You can adjust that. We've got the results at a glance here. This is something that you don't have to have. It's there by default, but we do have a style sheet that some people had requested when we first came out with this that doesn't show the results at a glance. So if you're interested in that, just let us know. We can email you that style sheet. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here and you'll see. So my fake company name here is called Awesome Inspection Company. And as I scroll down, I've added I made this extended logo, if you will. I basically took the colors of the logo that I have and I put it into a super easy tool, Canva, and I just made it kind of like just a bold graphic with two different colors just to bring out more of my logo. Nothing too detailed because I just don't think detailed stuff translates too well in this size image, but I wanted to bring in a little bit more green and bring in a little bit more brand awareness. So this is an example of something you could do in your report to just kind of salt and pepper your logo colors for brand awareness in your report. This one does have built-in icons that you'll notice for, items. It's got the eyeball. You'll notice here, repair replace has got a little notepad. This particular style sheet is also really cool because it's really uniform. All the pictures are going to be the same exact height and width. So it's going to take up less white space and it's just going to be a little bit more of a uniform report. And then, in my report here, I did kind of highlight repair replace in red, kind of little things like that. But this is basically the clean narrative style and format. I'll go ahead and remove that. And we'll just pop into a couple of these other ones just to show you the same exact report. All right, so the first one, grid 1, has the styles and materials on the side. Now, while that looks cool here, it might not look cool in other areas in your report. So for instance, if I do a print preview here, I just kind of want to point out why this one's not my favorite. Here's an example. So plumbing system, we have a lot more styles and materials than we do inspection items. And so it just leaves some white spacing, like right here with the heating and AC. There's a lot of them. And then it just leaves that white gap. And there's nothing really we can do about it. So we'll go back and we're in styles and formats again. So that was grid 1. We'll move on to grid 2. That has the comments below styles and materials on top. Your color choices here, you have all the ones that you see here that say modern blue, green, gray, navy, stuff like that. They are going to have that background like this. And that's pretty much it about grid 2. I'll show you an example of, let's say, the blue one. So I'm in grid 2. I'll select OK. You'll notice table of contents changes. And then I've got these kind of headers here. And as I navigate your home buyer or agent, they'll be able to kind of get some interaction there, which is kind of cool. And then the comment key and definitions, not columns. And then again, you'll notice here, you've got the bar here. If you add extra graphics here, you just have to be mindful of that. Styles and materials are at the top, and then your grid is kind of interactive and just how you can scroll through it. I'll do a quick view of the modern, and the modern and the other styles, they kind of repeat throughout the different grid ones, so I won't have to go into any kind of detail. But for the folks who've never seen this, it's always good to just see what the modern colors look like. So these are the modern colors. They have that in the background. You've got the kind of headers here that are dark, like a dark gray with the color. Grid 3, this one, styles and materials on top, comments below. You'll see it's a little bit different in the types of colors that you have that you can choose from. So we'll open up that and we'll just quickly, you'll see the different kind of looks for that one. And I'm just going through somewhat quick so we can get to the good stuff. All right, so 3B, this is one of my favorite ones. It has either grid 3B or narrative 3B. We'll show grid, but grid 3B, it has pictures always on a new line. I feel like it just makes the uniformity of the report nice. So instead of some of the formats, the pictures will sometimes be in line with the text. This one, no matter what you type out, the picture will always go to the next line. And if it's left justified, in my opinion, it provides a really nice clean look. But you can also have it center justified as well. So for 3B, we'll just go ahead and open up an example of that. And you'll see how for 3B, any of the 3Bs, whether it's grid or narrative, you'll see that there's a box around the comment and the photo, and that the picture is on a new line. So in a way, I really like that one. Puts everything to the left. I think it looks really nice and clean. There's also, in 3B, there's some options for ones that have like a watermark in the back as well. So basically, those were all the grid ones. Narrative is basically the same kind of styles and colors that we were talking about. But instead of a grid, you don't have a grid, and it just goes right to the comments. So just kind of, instead of a grid, you're going to have the title of the column header show up here where it says comments, and then your different comments below. All right, so that's kind of a tour of several different styles and formats. I will show one more too, because this one doesn't get much play, but I think it deserves a little bit of a show and tell. There's some other ones that I don't fully recommend, like Narrative 4 or Tick Box. If you're from Texas, you're kind of stuck with Tick Box 2. But Narrative Focused is kind of fun. So this one, it is created with the same clean narrative style sheet elements. So it is, I guess, the other newer one, but it doesn't really get used too much. It actually removes intros and footers and things like that. So it's really streamlined. And I'll show you. So we'll go sea green here. And it looks a little bit different too. Sometimes I forget about it. And it has some nice characteristics to it. So it's just a lot more streamlined. It's probably going to be the shortest report that you have.
All right, well, that's concluding our tour of the different report style formats. And now we're moving on to the next topic. So the miscellaneous section has some different settings that I'll cover that will change the way your report looks that you might want to know about.
Under print, if you go to miscellaneous, I'll point out a few things. The first one will be, did you know that you can actually change the text for some of these? The one down at the bottom where it says photos, video, title text. This was the first thing that ever bugged me about HomeGauge when I first started here. I really didn't like how every photo, if you didn't give it a name or a location right below the photo or the video, it would say photo 1, photo 2. And I thought it was really obvious to whoever was reading it that that was a photo and it was number 1. And I felt like it took up too much extra space, and it was just unneeded stuff. So I removed that right away. And so I'm just sharing that with you guys in case maybe you share the same thoughts on that slight thing. So you can just erase that. And here we've got a few things to point out as well. Center pictures. If you feel like centering pictures, you do you. I think it looks better, and it's just easier on the eye when you're reading to just have everything left justified, but experiment with it. So these are just my opinions, but I'm showing you where you can make the adjustments, do a print preview, see how you like it, place pictures above comment text. So yeah, there's another option here where you can add the photos before the comment text. Printing the picture labels, I think, is amazing, and I don't see why you'd want to uncheck that, because you can put location descriptors in your picture label. So I always recommend leaving that one. Let's see what else here. So this one here is somewhat newer, the skip header footer on duplicate sections, and I love this. So if you're somebody who you duplicate things, so I've got it checked right here, and I've duplicated rooms for living room, bedrooms, laundry. So living room, the first one would show the overview text, and then I'll scroll down. And as I scroll down to the bedrooms, overview text isn't there. So it's just a way to kind of streamline duplications.
All right, so that wraps up the different settings I wanted to point out under Miscellaneous. And we'll move on to the next topic. I'll show you how you can create different graphics that complement your logo and bring out your brand throughout your report, just like this.
If you are in your template and you go to Components, along here, every single component has an option where you can add an image. So if you highlight the component, you can right-click and select Edit T. A box will open up, and typically right here is blank, and you can add an image that will be a header for that section. Basically, you just search for your image, and then I think I saved this image here. So my image is a GIF file. All of these need to be GIF files. It won't even allow you to bring in other file formats. This one right here, I've done a lot of experimenting with the size, the height, and the width. And the one that I added here is 214 pixels by 48 pixels. So you've all seen what the print preview looks like. You might have to do some adjusting with whatever kind of graphic or that you want to add. You might have to resize it a few times to get it right and to make it look good. The taller the image is, the more it's not going to look super great. Keep it in that 38 pixels height range, 40 at the max. I did some experiments with 40 for the height, and it was just overlapping in weird ways. Any image, you can just hover over it and it will show the item type and the dimensions by pixels. So just use that to kind of figure out what's available to you, and I'll show you how you can kind of create stuff as well. So I'm just going to add that back. Every single one, if you go in and hit edit, I added this to pretty much everyone, and it looks kind of scrunched up there, but the printed report looks good. So that's just one kind of little technique that you can do. Just go in, right click on a component, click on the image, select your graphic, and then select open, and then select OK. I'm going to try to keep it very minimal, but I can spend like 5 minutes just showing you Canva real quick, just to introduce people who are not used to it, because it is a really good tool. Okay, I will pull up my Canva, and you can see all the crazy stuff that I do in Canva. And I'm not like a design person. We have a design team, but I do a lot of my own stuff as well, because it's so easy. All right, so this is Canva. Go to canva.com and you can start a free trial. It's not even a free trial, it's just a free account. There are some things that you're limited to, which sometimes gets annoying. So I have the pro account with HomeGauge. Just go to custom size. Make sure it's on pixels. You have some choices there, but make sure it's on pixels, and then type in your width. So we'll do 200 by, and then keep it 38 or lower. I'll do 35 just for fun. Oh, this is another little thing with Canva. Canva won't go below 40 pixels. So you'll have to do 200 by 40, or maybe we'll do like 175. And then you just do create new design. Most of the style sheets for the reports have white in the background. So I'm keeping it white. You can go to the text box here where it says T. You can add a text box. It gives you a really small text box that you can basically just drag and expand. And let's say your company was called the initials of the company, because I think it's nice to just, throw that in there. Or we'll say HomeGauge, why not? So we'll pretend that that's actually an inspection company. And maybe I'll add that right here. You can go up here and you can change the different fonts to whatever you like, whatever seems like it will fit the need and the look you're going for. And then I also just making it bold so it really stands out. Right here, you've got your color selector. And this is kind of just what I did with my so I'm moving this over. And I've got I'll do a print preview so I can get my logo colors. So you'll see here, you have multiple windows open, it makes it easier. I'll go to the color. There's a bunch of colors that you can select, but then you can also click this here and pick this little dropper tool and then just hover it over any part of your logo to match that up as closely as you like it. Or, you might really like the color, the specific color in the HomeGauge document. Maybe your logo is something different, but you want a graphic to match up something in the HomeGauge document. You can do that as well. And then, once you have something that you like that feels like it communicates your company, go ahead and add some elements. So if you click on elements here, you have a bunch of different things that you can add. You can add arrows, graphics, all different. You can search different things. There's so much here. I'm going to do just triangles. Sounds easy and simple, but that's what I'm going for, is kind of simple and easy. You can choose graphics. That's what you'll want to stick with, but then maybe you want to try Canva for other use cases. There's other types of sections that you can look for videos and photos and things like that. So I'll add this interesting geometric shape here, and I'll also go in and color select so it matches. So you'll see these are all the colors that particular graphic is using, and it's pretty easy to go in and just play around with stuff to get it to look a little bit more on brand to your logo. All right, so I've done all I need for grabbing my colors, and I'll expand that. I can rotate it, pretty much do whatever I feel like doing to make it look cool. And I might actually move this over and move that over, but you get the gist. So I'll also flip it because I kind of want it to just kind of frame something for me. So I've got that there, and I can go in, and once you're happy with how it looks, you can go to share. Here, there's some options. I'll go to download, and then this is kind of the big thing here. You have to go here to PNG, to this drop down, and actually change it to the GIF file at the bottom where it says size. I guess I didn't notice this before. Yeah, you can't go anything below that 40 pixels, and that's okay. You can always adjust it in Paint, like the program that comes with Microsoft Word, and resize it there if you feel like it a little bit lower. But just remember, file type has to be a GIF, otherwise it won't show up. And then you click download. You get this lovely confetti for doing the download. But just a PSA, Canva is great for just quick things that you might want to make if you are trying to make a social media presence and you want to post a graphic. It's really great for stuff like that, and they have a lot of templates and things. So that downloaded, and it's in my download section right here. And basically, we'll just go into HomeGauge and just kind of add that, see how it looks. In my downloads, there it is. Oop, there it is. All right, so I added one of those. I'll click on print and just kind of see the difference. A lot of this is taking a minute to be experimental and just check things out. So survey says, how does it look? It could look terrible, but I've got my little graphic there. Imagine if it had your company identifier, whatever that might be, and I have a little extra color pop there. So that's just a little bit of how you can navigate around that and make a little logo.
All right, and moving on to the next highlight from the webinar, readability. I'll point out some tips on how to make your reports more clear to your reader. Wouldn't that be nice?
For readability, I'm going to show you a few things that I've noticed through my years at HomeGauge that makes reading reports, let's just say, unclear and could have a home buyer or an agent call you and ask for clarity in certain reports. I'm going to use the report that I have here and available, and we'll go to, I'm going to do a grid format. So we're just going to do grid blue. And I've adjusted this report to help with some of that readability, and you'll see that here. But this is kind of the grid situation. With grids, while it's really cool to have this grid here, a reader often has to go up and down. So let's say we're in roof coverings, and it's really nice to see certain areas, what really is terrible. Maybe everything's good. It's really nice to see all good and just one repair replace or whatever column headers you have going on. But as they get down into the comments, comment 1, as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, is that an issue? Like, what is that? Comment 1. I might have to scroll up and go to roof coverings and look, and I'm like, okay, is that the repair replace? Let's say I haven't read the full report yet, and this is the first comment I see. I might be confused. I might just have to scroll up and just check and feel like I need to check if it's repair replace. And then we've got a second comment here. But what I did try to do is I tried to basically kind of address this going up and down by making kind of the first couple words of every comment that was repair replace, I set it in the comment itself. So there's no need, if somebody's reading this report, the first comment is just a regular old comment, but as they start reading it, they're like, oh, every single time a super important repair replace item is noted, my home inspector or RV inspector adds that to the beginning of the comment, and it kind of saves me the trouble of scratching my head and thinking, is this a repair replace or is it a cosmetic? I don't know. So I suggest, even if you're not using grid, I think everybody should have some kind of indicator right in the beginning of their comments that just right away just says if it's repair replace, if it's a monitor, if it's a cosmetic, whatever you're trying to call out, especially the most important ones. If it's a safety issue, you can just have safety right there. So that's one thing for readability there, and that goes the same for narrative. Narrative can be just as confusing. So I'll quickly show narrative 2. I will say that sometimes you have, so like right here, 1.4, this roof drainage systems, the comment up here says repair replace, and that's because in the report itself, under roof drainage systems, something was indeed repair replace, but it wasn't everything. There's a couple comments. So we've got repair replace here in comment number 1, and a bunch of holes and things like that. And so that is the repair replace item, and it's clearly highlighted. And then down here, there's a couple other comments that are not considered repair replace by this example, I guess you could say. Instead of repairing and replacing, you're just wanting to do some routine maintenance on these drain pipes that are buried. This is just to basically make things a little bit more clear when you're reading it, from a home buyer's perspective, because your inspectors, home buyers don't know what you're talking about. It's hard for them to know and differentiate between important things and things that are not summary items. That would be my suggestion there. Just be very clear when you have things that are repair replace, major repair, minor repair, whatever you have as your column headers, adding it into the comment right at the top. You can color code it if you'd like or not, but bold it and underline it is really great to do. So for all these different summary items, this happens to be a single summary item that I'm looking at right now, but you can always go down here to where it says summary, go to your edit summaries. And this one is just a single summary. So I've got general summary highlighted, and I can go here to edit. So in edit, I've got the option to color all the comments a certain color. That is not recommended for accessibility, just so you know, because there's all different types of color blindness out there and challenging areas to read and dim lighting outdoors, all that kind of stuff. So typically the most highest contrast is what you want, and that would be, black on white. If you want to just highlight a word like repair, replace in a specific color, that not so bad, because just one little word, they can read the full comment as well. But you can also, instead of doing any color coordinating, you can also add in an icon. So to do that, you just click here where it says use icons for comments that are in the summary. Select the box. There was a little house there by default. And you can go to HomeGauge. So if you go into your HomeGauge folder, or it might be in documents, if you go to C and go to your HomeGauge folder and go to HTML5, we have a lot of icons that are preloaded. Feel free to use them, or make your own on Canva. They can be super simple. Whatever you think is going to communicate the issue. Typically it's a negative issue, like a whoa, safety issue or something like that. And I think these work really well. I created my own in a recent version of a template that hopefully will be released to the masses soon. And so I have all these different ones here that I used. So I did an alert, and then I also did that alert. So you can click on that. I did open, and then select OK. And then when you do your print preview, it just kind of calls attention to those areas. And it really comes in handy, especially when people are just kind of reading through reports, or maybe they're rereading because they kind of read it thoroughly upon initial viewing, but maybe they're going back and they're trying to scan through. So it just kind of makes it easier to read and find the important things. The clean narrative is what I'm going to do the example with here. And I think it really helps because I love the clean narrative, but I find that having the icons really helps kind of break it up. But to highlight the important stuff, it's just a simple little icon that just brings a little bit of visual awareness. Of course, I also added the text there in colors. Yeah, so that's what that looks like. And I definitely encourage folks to use that to make their reports just a little bit more readable.
All right, and the last highlight I'll bring out from the webinar, we had a question from one of the inspectors on the call, and they were wondering, how do you change the cover page? Their cover page was not showing the large photo of the house that spanned across the whole page. So I'll cover that right now.
Under print, if you highlight where it says full report for upload, highlight it and click edit, you'll see here where it says cover page, and then over here it says clean cover, clean style. You can switch that. So where the three dots are located and my mouse is hovering over that, if you click on the three dots, it should open up your File Explorer to your HomeGauge HTML5 folder. If it doesn't, you have to kind of navigate to your HomeGauge folder and then HTML5. And then in here, you have different options for cover pages. And the one that I was using was the cover clean style. So if you click on that and then select open, and then do OK, and then you'll want to save it for future reports, and then OK again, you'll have that same kind of cover page.
And that wraps up today's webinar recap of report style and design tips. Hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get notified the next time we upload any new content. And as always, have a wonderful day.